So it's been missed a month doing this, but that was mainly down to kind of just trying to figure out what the best way to make this more interesting, more useful, show performance in a more interesting way. So March continues to be an incredible kind of journey, but kind of some of the monthly highlights for those of you that kind of have followed along, you will have known there was 2 store purchases. One was really in February, but kind of it actually hit the store through March, and that's where that's really taken effect and improved sales. And there was the smaller store purchase, which I'm currently working through. So a big increase in inventory count, which has led to kind of a steady rise in sales, and an increased order and value. And you'll see from some of the stats further on how even reduced orders can still mean increased value. So it's a strange patterns that seem to have been apparent, like Tuesday's been really slow, have been completely turned on the head in March, with a Tuesday being one of the busiest days. Mondays and Tuesdays, seemingly. Obviously, YouTube has grown pretty well. The giveaway definitely helped with that, really spurred us along. And I really do hope that we will crack the 1,000 by the end of April, which will be a great landmark for me. Kind of, it was something we set out way back when. I think I'll probably do a video that kind of looks back over the year when we get to kind of around June time when it all started originally. And obviously the store expansion has been ongoing, storage wars as it's been dubbed, but that really again kind of hit the ground running through March with increased volume storage and the drawers arriving from the really useful box company. So inventory versus parts. Parts has remained pretty lots, should we say, has remained pretty consistent. I mean, it obviously goes up and down depending on what you sell, and a big order can clear you out of a lot of things, so you get this kind of bobbing and weaving. But we've been pretty consistently over 10,000 now for a fair old while, and definitely kind of we've pushed beyond 12,000, and onwards and upwards really as we go for that. Similarly, kind of with the store inventory scale, that kind of takes kicks and leaps every time we get a big batch. You can see kind of over here how it kind of declined a little bit when there wasn't a lot of inventory being added, and then we kicked back up at the beginning of the month with some more orders and things coming in and being added. So it does bob and weave. As you can see, it's kind of like gone up in chunks, pretty static through there, and then jumped up, and that, yeah. So it's just an ongoing battle. But if you're doing, say, selling out 3,000 parts every week, then to continue to grow, then you need to be adding beyond that into the store week on week. Not necessarily all at once, but it's certainly been my ambition to try and to match what's been gone out and improve upon that to keep the store growing. Across the platforms, total sales, Bricklink continues to dominate. It hovers around this 80-20 mark for me, and anyone that's watched any other YouTubers will know that some people's Brick Owl is really high performing, like Brick Arena's Brick Owl performs really well. He also has eBay in the mix. I don't have an eBay store to add to that, but who says I won't in the future. But pretty consistent, as is kind of new versus old. Much of that's driven to the amount of used that I have available, but with the new drawers arriving, be able to increase the amount of used on offer, and hopefully that will increase month on month, a little bit at a time. I don't want to become a used store. It's far too much work in my opinion, kind of sorting and checking and all of that, and just creating BSX files and things like that. But it's good to have it in the mix. It sells, you get a lot of mixed orders, new and used, so it does help bring in sales. I've added this one in because I always think it's quite fascinating. They just saw even the top 20 colours through the month. Light blue grey was the clear favourite. I think it was like 6,500 parts. just over 6,000. Looking at their percentages, maybe it was 6,400 and something. Dark blue, grey, white, black, you name it. Star Wars all the way, isn't it? Tan, off, reddish brown, the castles and knights and things like that. But yeah, pretty consistently, it would be those top 6 going along. Okay, so total sales for the last kind of 6 months, really. So it kind of shows you where we're at. And I think, from memory, although it's a bit jaded now, that the Bricklink hack outage was back in November, wasn't it? So, or was it October to November? I can't remember. Anyway, that's where that massive decline in things came through. Maybe it was November. But as you'll see from January, February, March, total sales 187, 168 through February, shorter month, 187 back again this month. But what's interesting when you offset that with the revenue growth, so December, yes, the store was closed, so January's revenue increase is huge at 24.5%, but through February, a shorter month, it grew by 8.9%, and then similarly this month it has grown by another 6.48 on last month's. So whilst the orders are vastly improved on February, given it a short month, the revenue growth is probably the more important metric. Similarly with items sold, when you see that kind of December, January, February, March, that's continual growth. November must be when Bricklink went to the wall, but you know, that's consistently going up. In terms of kind of where we are, I think that's meant to be minus 2.8, not plus 2.8, but there you go. We're all human, we all make mistakes, minus 2.8, but importantly, revenue growth month on month through the first 3 months of the year. Daily sales, anyone that's watched these things before knows that kind of there's no rhyme or reason to it. Obviously, it was a very strong end to the month. It's very weighted towards that from kind of like the 24th onwards. Things got busy. But it was fairly consistent. But as I've said earlier, Tuesdays went from being silent days where nothing happened to being the day where actually it was a steady day. So you were getting like 6 orders a day on those ones. They were almost the peaks, a Monday or a Tuesday. So interesting. But got to figure out how to kind of map this month on month. I suppose it'll be more interesting when we get into the second year of business and you'll be able to see how month on month is performing versus a previous month. Overview of the stats over the last wee while. Obviously we're focusing on March, where we started the month with 454,064 parts, or 12,558 lots. The fans were way up, mainly due to the giveaway and being a fan of the store being one of the steps. Average sales been pretty consistent all the way, isn't it? October 5.8, November 5.7, December we were closed for that extended period, but January, February, March, all hovering around that 6 a day. But bear in mind, the revenue from those sales has increased month on month. YouTube subscribers, we're way past that at the time of recording. We're up at 956 as I'm recording this, and heading towards that 1,000 and ultimately being able to monetize the vlogs and therefore hopefully do a few more giveaways. I mean, that's what we all want, in it, free stuff. Instagram followers continues to be a steady trajectory. I don't do an awful lot on there, so can't really be any surprises on there. I am thinking about taking the YouTube shorts, minifigure shorts, onto Instagram, onto their reels kind of thing, just as a little bit of content, but I've not actually fitted that into my schedule so far. And then store buyer locations for this month. Queensland becomes its debuts at being the biggest location. Victoria, New South Wales locked at 40. WA continuing to grow, and pleasantly more and more people doing a pickup, which is nice because you get to have a little bit of a chit chat with people. So yeah, pretty strong. So where does that put us? Well, the increase in stores has taken us up to 5th in the table. for WA. Again, it's a long way up to Ali's Bricks and Bits, but we'll give it a whirl. And then in terms of overall Australia, we are currently sitting at 16th, the 16th biggest store. Brick Warehouse remains the largest in the country, with another store now at over 1 million parts as well. But we are up to 16th, and you could possibly imagine that as we push to the 500,000, that's going to take us pretty close to the top 10, which is the goal, as it says there. So the goal for the end of April is to try and reach 500,000 parts. It could be tough, but it's the goal. We're also discussing about changing where the store is, moving out of this room into something that's a little bit more spacious, allow a little bit more storage, to create a bit more of a flow to the picking, to speed things up. Obviously, the goal is to do this giveaway this month and then really plan some future ones, really. I think, it's kind of nice. Everyone's watching, everyone's, leaving nice comments, helping push it out there. But a few giveaways, I think, would be a nice touch. I do kind of have that ability to do that. And increasing the used inventory. Obviously, there's big buckets of it sit through there. There's that collection that I bought, which is all boxed up. Really need to start digging into that through the rest of April as well. So there's a lot of parts to get added in still, which is all part of that pushing on to 500,000. So that's it. I hope that was of interest, a little bit of an insight behind the curtain here at Yellow Brick Road. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the video. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. I'm happy to answer any questions on bits and pieces that people want to know, or hints and tips. And some of those become little how-to videos as well. So thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you next time.